Welcome to Jill's.
All right, that's enough of that shit. Let's get this show on the road.
Greetings and felicitations.
Hello and welcome to Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations. This is number 199. And we are talking about For All Mankind, Season 5, Episode 8. So we're coming up on the end of the season. Everything's getting very, very exciting. And it was a bit of a struggle there for a few of the episodes. I mean, they were good episodes, but now you can really feel the pace of the show moving along in a much more satisfying way. What do you think, Bill? And welcome to the panel. Thank you for joining me to talk about this show.
Well, I love the show. Love being on the panel on the podcast. I mean, I haven't really been displeased with anything in this season. I feel like there's been a lot of like discourse online that I don't understand, and I'm still trying to like crack myself. But ultimately, I think everything we've seen before has built up in a very satisfying way, and so I'm really curious to see how the last two turn out. Obviously, we'll be talking about the most recent episode, but no, I'm just very pleased with where things are going. And now the only thing I'm concerned about at this point is outside of a few plot threads. I mean, once those are wrapped up, I don't know where the show can go after that. So that's where I'm a little bit.
Well, I don't know either. So I guess just settling in on Mars as if it's the second Earth here, except without all of the the human pleasures that Alex dreams about, like being at the ocean, that he can never do.
I mean, I think there's been kind of a expectation every season to where like, okay, well, we're going to go to the moon, we're going to go to Mars. Eventually, we'll go to some place in the outer solar system. I was assuming someplace around Saturn because it was kind of set up in Gene Kranz's speech in the first episode. So it was kind of like the preamble to the whole series. So I guess Interstellar after this, but I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a big jump, but we'll see at this point.
Well, for right now, I think that they're just going to be busy enough figuring out how to make Dev's dream come true. If he comes out of the shadow of, if that ever even happens, if he comes out of the shadow of having cast himself as a villain suddenly, because he doesn't really believe in the Martian takeover.
I mean,
Martian.
I think
Independence.
His whole thing about it, I think, was, I mean, his view was to make Maru sort of like, because I mean, I didn't think about it until a little bit after that episode aired, but essentially his Maru idea, outside of some little flourishes he was trying to pitch to Alex, I mean, if you think about it, Alex was pointing out a bunch of little flaws in it to make it seem like a home, because it was like, it looks kind of like something artificial, like it's not something that normal people would live in. And he was pointing it out that early. So that was kind of the tip off that things, I think, were going to head a certain way.
Yeah, but he was he actually seemed receptive to Alex's suggestions to open it up to make it more modular. And he did have at least the sense that maybe, I can get Alex on board here if I make a little mini ocean, a little wave pool. But here's Keith. Keith is here. Hello to Keith, stopping by to listen, lurk, and learn. Yes, we do like to learn stuff here. And also, DJ Play Nice. DJ Play Nice was here last night to wish us a great stream. And to instruct people on how to comment and share and do all the good stuff. And Part-Time Planting was here last night too. And I think Jamie was typed in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if Gavin was there, but Gavin might be coming around soon. So yes, I think everything you're saying makes sense. It is.
Howdy, everybody in online world. If I haven't said, if I haven't said anything about hello to everybody, but
Yeah.
thank
So
you for
I
joining.
do. Yes, thanks for joining me. I do see this kind of like as the American Revolution because Earth is so far away, they can't possibly keep governing Mars without Mars being able to take care of themselves. So, but also it seems like there's a little bit of civil war too because you're having Dev and Alex on opposite ends, and Dev has been kind of a surrogate uncle to Alex.
I mean, I would say there's a little bit of that. There's definitely a coloration of that. I mean, since you have ultimately the Civil War, the American Civil War was about, you know, a certain type of labor that obviously was not um, essentially wasn't something that one side agreed with, and one side was definitely more prone to wanting to keep it going. And so in this case, Dev is on the side of automating the entire workforce and basically replacing everybody on Mars with machines. And so that's pretty much like I don't think they poured over one to one, but these are definitely like there's a labor um, element to this whole season that's kind of been threaded throughout, and that's definitely what you're seeing sort of move the season in that direction. And I think that that's an interesting kind of like fissure in the discussions there. So you do have that element, and then there are
It's
elements of like the
absolutely
American
odd.
Revolution.
It's absolutely odd though. I could buy Palmer doing it. He says, "I don't see Mars as home. I don't see Mars as a place to live on. I want to go
Mhm.
back to Earth, and don't you?" So let them automate it. Let the robots work, and we can
Yeah,
go home. And
yeah.
but Dev doesn't think that way. Dev wants Mars to be a home, and so the way he's behaving to me runs counter to
I
what
mean, the
he's
more
proposing as his dream.
I mean, I think Dev is approaching it from like a techno utopian perspective, where it's like no matter what we do, technology is always going to be it's always going to lead us towards some kind of grand utopia, even if like a bunch of people in between get left behind.
Well, yeah, he
So
basically says that the automation resistance is futile, basically,
yeah,
and so
that's
let's control it.
now you have a lot of that today with a lot of the opposition and support for AI today, which obviously the AI today is nothing like um, anything we've seen in some of the more extremes in science fiction. But even
Mm.
then, there's an element to it that it might eventually become the very thing that it will become good enough to where it can actually take these jobs and be efficient at it.
Someday, but right now it is, as you say, not true AI. It is large language models, and they can solve lots of really complex problems, do mathematics and program computers. But there are lots of ways in which a human will think intuitively, and that they cannot emulate just yet.
Yeah.
So we're yeah, that's definitely something to look at. But anyway, we probably should start talking about the episode in the narrative space that I've made, set it forth in the slides.
Hmm.
But I do enjoy these last episodes because it's got more space. We've got more. The last episode had the landing of Titan. This one has a trip to the asteroid. So we're getting more of what I loved in the early seasons of For All Mankind, which a little less political intrigue in 90210 and a little more space.
I
I know
mean,
I know some drama's important, but
yeah.
you know,
Well, I
I
mean,
need
it's a
some.
science fiction
Throw
drama
me a bone.
ultimately,
Yes.
but I mean, I'm kind of interested in because I read it was sort of it's not really like a manifesto or anything, but it's more of like a some sort of a memo. Because I mean, when Ronald D. Moore envisioned the reimagined version of Battlestar Galactica, he wrote a memo called "Naturalistic Science Fiction," and in it, it was pretty much just a list of this is what we're not going to do in our show. This is what they typically do in like a generic space opera adventure show. That's what we're not going to do. And I thought it was very fascinating. I think that the principles that he sets up in that memo are still present in this show, and so it's just an evolution of that the stuff outlined in that
That's
memo.
possible, but some of my best of his writings were when he was put in that box for TNG. he was set in the box, but he still broke free from it just enough to make those episodes some of the best episodes of the Next
Well, I don't
Generation.
think you get to that without him building a framework on TNG and Deep Space Nine, but because that was sort of the crucible for him to get to that. But ultimately, I think with the creation of that memo and what he did with the reimagined version of Battlestar and what he's doing here on what he did on
Yeah.
For All Mankind, I feel like there's a through line there that I feel like improves the genre rather than impedes it.
Well, yeah. Well, in that case, in Battlestar Galactica, it worked really well because you had the political intrigue, but you still had, you were in space all the time. You were always on the ship most of the time, so there was
I mean,
always
that
that,
when
and
they
then the
had
element of the Cylons and everything made the
up
show
until they
good.
got to New Caprica, then there was a few episodes where they weren't. But
Oh yeah, that's right. I haven't watched the show in a while. But also Miss Jarrett can call herself Jarrett all she wants, but she's Stevens, whether she likes it or not. So that's where my thumbnail comes from.
Mhm.
And so yeah. So we're gonna all that said though,
we'll get on
we
with it.
still don't there's so much. What the heck is NASA doing?
Yeah, I mean, we
What's
haven't
been
heard
happening?
anything about NASA this whole season.
Yeah, what's happening on the moon? We're not going to hear any of that. So at this point, I am putting to bed the idea that we're going to learn anything about NASA or the moon this season. Unfortunately, we're going to have to get comic books or something.
So, I mean, there's a chance, but it's becoming more and more vanishingly small with every episode. So we may never.
And we've been talking about Dev, but Dev wasn't in this episode at all. He caused a major catastrophe, not just for the Martian Independence side, but also for the M6 side, his side. Now all the food's been annihilated except for whatever he stole with the raids from the police force. So I don't know. He's somewhere doing something. In fact, I thought that's who Miles was going to talk to. I was like, oh, he's going to talk to Deb. No, it wasn't.
Yeah, I think they're definitely doing what I was suggesting a couple episodes ago, where it's like they're doing stuff to where Dev and Alex can't meet together, and so all this stuff happens in between. But then there's going to be that final confrontation between the two of them, probably in the finale. And I think that that's going to kind of where things are going to reach a head, and then we'll see where things go. Because I don't think Dev leaves this season completely unscathed, but I do think he's going to have to pay for what he instigated in those aggro domes.
Yeah, he's going to have to make up for it somehow in a big way. And it's just, Ron Moore really made this. I thought it was black and white. I was totally supporting Martian Independence. And then this episode happened. So this episode makes it more difficult to root for the people you want to root for. And so that's good storytelling, basically, is all of these complications that make things not so black and white. And I thought that Kelly was just being the right amount of Ed in the last episode, but now, however, there's almost no difference between Kelly and Ed. They're basically indistinguishable. I think so.
I mean, I think so. Can see that.
But also, when I thought of that, I was thinking of the time Karen talked to Molly all about Ed and everything, and she says this, and this is one of my favorite quotes. She is my favorite.
I was going to say that you're a force of nature.
No,
and
I'm a selfish prick. That's okay. Selfish pricks change the world.
So that's Kelly this episode.
I mean, that's a good callback. I wonder if she's going to say, because she has to talk to, the commander and tell him that, Walt, and tell him that, what she did to ultimately make it happen. I think her space career is pretty much done after that, but the fact that she was able to pull that off, I think only inspires other people to do the same risky stuff later on.
Yeah, I want her to take responsibility for it, but she has to eventually, because it is ripping Walt apart. I can see, the stress in his eyes that he's caused a mistake, and he's checking his math, checking his notes. He's like, what did I do wrong here? And it's something that happens in real life with you send something off into space, sometimes the trajectories don't quite work, or maybe there was something faulty in the ship itself, and he's just trying to figure it out desperately when Kelly could relieve at least the notion that he's done something wrong. But since I'm getting too deep into it, but since he gives her command,
well, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Then she's like, oh, never mind, I'm not gonna tell you anything because I like having command. So that's the selfish part. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's that empathetic part of her where she literally sees Walt just like becoming unglued for good reason, of course, but he's obsessing over it because he doesn't think that he can get anything wrong. And I think that's why it did kind of work out when he gave her the command, and then it makes it seem it's a little bit easier for her to kind of get some of the things around. But I'm kind of lost, not lost, but curious to see where things go with that, because I mean, Walt is essentially now when we get to that part, it'll make more sense. But for those of you who are listening at home,
it will.
But,
it will. But I think all this
those threads
preamble
are
just
interesting.
shows how great the show is that we don't even need to pull up the picture story. Hello to Jamie and also Theta of Nerd Archaeology, who says hello.
Hello.
And and Brogu's here too. Hello, Brogu.
Hey, Brogu.
How did you like your brother's movie? I haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, I think for us regular people, it doesn't come out till tomorrow or Friday.
Oh, I thought everybody's seen it because everybody's been talking about it.
Well, I mean, there was advanced screenings for it, I think, on Tuesday.
But he's
yesterday.
Grogu. You would think he'd get an advanced screening.
You'd think they'd give him some kind of a screener, yeah. But I think AMC
to the red carpet.
Yeah, I think the AMC people that I'm a part of, the AMC A-list, they give us like a Thursday night showtime thing in advance. But I'm not doing that. I'm doing it on Saturday with my parents. So we'll report back and see what we say. But anyway.
Oh, good. That's good. Good to share Star Wars together as a family. So anyway, let's talk about the episode because we've got a speech from Kelly. So we do start off the episode with her, and she makes, for just a brief moment, for like 30 seconds, Earth and Mars are both celebrating together this achievement of stepping on Titan for the first time. Helios crew sets foot on Titan. Search for life on Saturn's moon begins. And she has a speech, and everybody loves it, and they're celebrating, cheering, and it's a good moment to start the episode off with because pretty soon we're not going to be so happy. She talks about the plaque that that inspired her to commit the sabotage. Obviously, she doesn't even include that in her speech. But she says what it says. We came in peace for all mankind, which of course the name of the show. And she says, I carry these words with me today as we touch the surface of another moon. One that we reached because of people like my father, because of people like the brilliant engineers and scientists on Mars who rebuilt and rehabilitated our ship. Yeah, we didn't get to see any of that. That was the cool thing that Aleda was supposed to go there for. And I thought, okay, so Aleda's got to be there to help rebuild the ship, but we didn't see a second of that. Anyway. Yeah. And people like the scientists who lost their lives aboard Cosmos 1, I really appreciate that she included them. We carry their memory with us as we take these steps towards the search for life in our universe. And so that's everything. That's really good. But and Alex is very happy, especially since his mom is no longer in imminent. Well, she's always in danger, but she made it on Titan, which was the scariest part.
Yeah, I think that in terms of like, did we get a speech on Mars? I don't think we did.
No, we got get out of my way, you commie, from Danny.
Yeah, Yeah, and then
They were fighting.
pretty much, yeah. And then the people on Earth, I think, misinterpreted it, and they were like, "Oh, they're they made it
They're
together."
hugging.
But yeah, they're hugging. It's such a joyous moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't get a speech like that. But this is interesting because this particular speech brings everything kind of full circle in a way, because I mean, the plaque has gone from potentially being on the moon, which it didn't ultimately end up on Apollo 11 because they weren't first. But now it was on Mars, and then they transferred it to Titan. So this thing is gone a lot of places, and now we've come full circle, recognizing that this is literally the show now. They came in peace for all mankind, and they're on another moon. That moon being Titan.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah. US finally got one. A moon, that is. Brogu says, not only have I seen the movie, which is a fun popcorn movie, I had the pleasure of being a stand-in for Grogu when he took his naps. Right on. That is really cool. That's super funny. And so we'll go back to the slides here. Where are they? There they are. And when we get through them, we see that Gerardo is reinforcing his belief and his support in Miles. I feel like they're setting this up for something later, because he still doesn't know some of the things that Miles had to reveal in 2003 in order to protect everybody. But it would seem like a betrayal possibly to Gerardo. So anyway, we'll see what happens when that happens, because here he's like, I'll follow you anywhere. And I feel like they're laying it on thick for a reason.
Well, I mean, I think that right here you're starting to see I think ultimately you have three factions of this Martian independence movement. You have the hardline Gerardo types, and then you have the moderates with like Miles, and then you have somebody who's kind of like new to it, but they're now kind of coming into their own as like they're now calling. We're going to get to that right now, but essentially this Martian identity is starting to come out, and now you have more and more people, especially with like Boyd, who's now embracing that perspective.
Yes, yeah, she's fully immersed herself as a member of the community and a leader, and we'll see that come out very much so in this episode. Hello to Matt G. How are you? Hello. Good to see you. There he is, Matt G. Crouching Taylor, Hidden Swift, known as that also. But Ilya is just here as a buffer saying, you're not going to want to listen, but you must. And so, I thought it was going to be Dev or maybe Palmer speaking for Dev, but instead it turns out to be Arena and the governor, and they're just they're having a discussion here that the Soviet Union is collapsing, and if Miles can just hold on for a few more weeks, they only have 2 weeks of food left. If they can just hold out, the current Soviet president is going to fall, and the governor here, Lenya, can take his place, and then Lenya has a motive to actually want to help Mars seek independence. Motive, not just to get back at the government, but that's betrayed him, because basically that's his main motive, because his family has been taken away from him. His wife's had to denounce him, and his son isn't speaking to him, and it's eating away at him, and so he wants this, and this is what convinces Miles that he's serious.
Yeah. And that's the thing that kind of got me, because we were kind of anticipating something like this happening, but where Polivanov would end up becoming some kind of a figure in the Soviet state, no matter if it's like the current one or a reformed one that happens later. But it does seem like they're kind of teeing it up for this idea that when this does end up happening, and there is sort of a restructuring of the Soviet Union, that he would lead it. But now we have this added element where if he does lead it, that it'll be the Soviet Union that supports the Martian independent state rather than the United States. And so whatever form that Soviet state takes, the Martian Independent one might resemble in some ways, but maybe they're gonna tee it up for some kind of a thing with that. But anyway, that's
But
kind of what we're
anyway,
seeing.
if that happens, that of course is the end of the M6 because M6 is basically U.S. and Soviet Union working together, and spreading that apart would break it up completely, and that
Yeah,
is the end goal for
yeah,
Arena
yeah. I
and
mean,
Lenya.
because there's that Soviet coalition of different spacefaring countries like the ESA, and then you have all the other members. But yeah, once that happens and the M6 disbands, because I think that, I mean, obviously when we get to that point too, because there's a lot of dynamics that are in play right now, and it's very fascinating to see how that's all going to go down. But it seems like Irina and Polivanov both want independent Mars to succeed because at the end of the day, the Soviet Union's basically left them behind.
Mhm. Yeah, basically. Yeah, definitely. Well, and after all Arena did for her government, she was put in a gulag anyway and dismissed. And so they're both disenfranchised from the Soviet Union, and they both have reason to help. Uh,
Right.
and so, and they explained to Miles, "Hey, you can hold out for a couple weeks, and we're going to help you, or you go home, you surrender, and you go to prison forever, basically." And he's not wrong. They're not wrong. And
Mhm.
but there's also okay, also just to prove that, do they even talk about it here? Yeah, I think they do. So they have to in this particular scene because he says, "What are you not telling me?"
Mhm.
And what that is that Lenya says, "We have learned that there is a multinational military force from the M6 that's currently on the way to Mars, and their order is to retake Kuznetsov." I can't pronounce this.
Kuznetsov Station.
Kuznetsov. Thank you. Kuznetsov Station and the Goldilocks asteroid by force. And so that is that's the information to Miles that an invasion is on the way. And how does Arena know all about this? I do kind of like the quote, "The only currency in prison is information." And by that standard, I'm quite wealthy. That's pretty
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
And so
And it
that's
would
it.
appear when we get to that point too, but it's like because we weren't really sure we know that there was like some kind of an expeditionary force in space that either the US has or it is part of a larger organization. Like we build stuff and then we kind of just support this larger entity with it. But
Mhm.
when we
Oh,
get
the
to that
ones who
scene,
built the ones who built the elevator, or
no, the
who?
ones who built the spaceship, the military ship.
Okay.
So when we get to that
Okay, I'm not
point,
sure who that is. You're gonna have to educate me on that one.
well, because we've already, or we're going to see very quickly here, the USS Bradford, and that would imply that it's an American make, but it is operated by a coalition of everybody from the M6, which is an interesting kind of difference that we see in
Oh,
this
and it is
timeline.
a cool ship. I get 3 different pictures of it because I think it's so cool. So
Yeah,
you're right. It's a
I wanted to
gravity.
make sure. I wanted to make sure when we got to those pictures that I can kind of go into a little bit of the details. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah. And we will do that. It's gonna be it's gonna be real messy. So they're setting up some big actual important drama here. And so, yes, as we mentioned, we're here on that ship, the Bradford, and they're talking about taking back the asteroid, just as Irina said, and they're working on that. And they say the most important part about this scene is that they're saying use only flashbangs and rubbers only. We do not want to risk any ruptures in there. And I like that they're only concerned with that they might damage the station, not actually the people that they're trying to take over. So,
Mhm.
and Avery's taking lots of notes. Here she is. Hold on, let's find that. Taking lots of notes for this particular. Actually, oh no, I didn't stop sharing my screen. Hold on, just a moment.
It's okay.
There she is. She was taking notes of this meeting that they were having here. And here's that ship that you were talking about.
Mhm.
Of course, it's got that 2001 spinning gravity thing going on, like
Kind of.
that space hotel from the other season.
It looks like the design has some DNA from like some of the military ships that we have in Babylon 5, where it's like it's not whole sections, like an entire rotating wheel. It's just like one tiny little like centrifugal capsule on the side that's just rotating around it. And this
Yeah,
one's
so
two.
there will be some parts of the ship where you're still floating around, and there will be some parts where you get to walk around normally. And so
Yeah, it looks
that's
like
pretty fun.
well, it looks like these two particular sections are counter rotating. So one's rotating one way and the other one's rotating the other way. So it's kind of an
Oh, to
interesting
keep it
setup.
balanced? I
Maybe.
like
I
it
mean,
one way or another.
sometimes it's depends on the work of fiction, but sometimes they're usually together with that.
Yeah, and I do like, yeah, they're approaching Mars. So every time we see the ship, we get to see Mars as they approach. And then, of course, we get the opening credits written by Nina Braddock and Kate Burns, directed by Dan Liu. So he's back. And so here we get Boyd taking leadership over a new police force, which are going to be called the Happy Valley Corps.
Mhm.
And they've got everybody here who's volunteering for this, including Alex, who wants to be part of the medical team. But he's gonna soon find out that he'd still just have to do weapons training, even though he's doing medicine. And so I think that's also a setup for later when he does end up having to use a weapon or not. Or we'll see what he decides in the heat of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's definitely a turning point for Boyd, who went from being kind of just a bit of an outcast within her own group, and now actually leading the others. So
And it looks like they're
interesting.
definitely not only is it like a volunteer force, but it's also sort of a. It looks like they're a lot less, not strict, but like they feel like they're more uh, conducive to like more of a democratic environment, whereas like the MPKs were definitely more of like an authoritarian force than the HVC seemed to be.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you're right. She mentions that yes, you will have some power, but you're not going to abuse it. We're going to run things a little different here, and we
Yeah.
accept everybody.
Yeah.
And so yeah, yeah, that's how this is set it up, and we'll see how that goes. And at least yeah, you got to learn some weapons, Alex. That was a cute moment. I do appreciate that, because you want to be peaceful and everything. That's nice, but if you're not willing to use weapons, you cannot maintain that peace. So
I mean, for this
that's the
particular
problem with that.
situation, yeah. I mean, it makes total sense to. I mean, other than the fact that narratively, you're probably going to have Alex embroiled in some kind of a firefight eventually, but just characteristically, it makes sense that anybody who wants to fight for this independence movement should be able to be qualified enough behind a firearm to actually commit themselves fully to this endeavor.
Agreed. And then we get a brief look at the bleak documentary that Golsora was making about her life on Mars, living under a tubercular sky. And just the way she writes. I forget the name of the documentary, but it's like in French or something.
Yeah, it's. I think there's a lot of things kind of funny about this particular little thesis film that she makes. It's kind of a stereotypical like student film. It's trying to be very pretentious, very like high minded and all this, and you can definitely see that in that level of student filmmaker. But I think
Mhm.
outside of that, it's definitely pointing to something that I think we otherwise wouldn't have seen, which is this is like one of those first Martian made films, regardless of its quality, that shows Martian culture starting to emerge and an identity from that coming to the fore. So that alone makes it a little more fascinating than just, sort of that superficial view.
Absolutely, and it's coming straight from Lily here because obviously Gosora cannot finish this film, the first
Mm,
Mars created movie. And so Lily essentially is going to take up the mantle of finishing this documentary because she's grieving heavily over this, and of course she's blaming, unfortunately she's blaming herself because of the birthday party, and she doesn't
mhm.
she can't get past her grief to see that it was just a coincidence that the location was precisely the one that Dev attacked. And so Alex tries to reassure her that it wasn't her fault, and he's right. But in situations like this, very often you can't. It's very difficult when you're grief stricken to see reason when the heart is overtaken everything, and she's got to do something about it. But in a way, that's a good thing because it's a
Mhm.
catalyst for the action that I was telling you a few episodes that I wanted from Lily earlier. Because I
Mhm.
told you I wanted her to do something for herself
Mhm.
because she's very good. She's been very good the whole season supporting Alex. And so now it's good to see that reversed a bit where he's supporting her and she's
Mhm.
figuring out what she wants to do to make a difference the way he's been wanting to do and achieving the
Yeah.
entire season.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly right. And then, beyond that too, I mean, there's this sort of little tension between the two of them in that scene where he brings up, because I think he wants to send her to Earth because he thinks that it'll be better to send her there because he knows that she'll be safe there. But ultimately, she still wants to fight for this movement and fight in a way that plays to her strengths. So there is a justifiable tension there because I mean she was very repulsed or repelled by that view where it's like don't ever ask me to go back to that place ever again because that's look what they think of us, and then she shows the image of what they think of Golsora there, and so that alone is kind of a nail in the coffin for any support from her for Earth.
Right, right. She doesn't wanna go back because Earth will just see her as an insurgent or worse, and is, upset that Alex suggests she go home or go to Earth because, she had to go to school anyway, might as well go and come back later maybe, but no, she is not gonna do that. She's making her stand here, and she's gonna do something different with her life.
Mhm.
The trajectory she's going on is new now for her. So we see her make that decision for the crossroads for her, and which is exactly what I wanted for her character. So good job on that one. She's gonna finish Gosora's film, and this is basically a diplomatic, a grand. She's going to. This is a great way to extend diplomacy from Mars to Earth. Art can be a powerful force, and she's gonna do something pretty good with it, and we'll see what
Mhm.
happens, and Alex is there to support. And he didn't do anything wrong by suggesting she go to Earth because he's just worried about her, but
Yeah.
she doesn't want that.
No.
And so yeah, she's doing good now. She says, "This is how they see us. They want to point us, they want to paint us as radicals or terrorists, but that's not who we are." And I got a clip. I got 2 clips this time.
No.
But that's not who we are. We need to show them who we are. What it actually feels like to live up here.
And, well, you're doing something to help, right? Maybe I could too.
Mhm.
And so then she's made her choice. This is good. And, she doesn't
Yeah,
wanna.
I mean, she doesn't have to like take up arms or join the medical corps to support the Martian independence movement. So
Yeah,
her
she's doing it
still-
in a different way from Alex,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, and I think that her way is definitely some, a method to where people who are pro Mars on Earth can probably see it and be like, well, they're now their own kind of culture. We should respect that. We should, move forward on that. I think that thread is definitely going to be a lot larger toward the end of the season. Because right now we're just kind of seeing the beginning threads of it.
Yeah, even if you're anti-Mars, even if you're, pro-Earth, which sounds silly, of course, a human's going to be pro-Earth, but you might see this, and this might give you a different perspective on the whole situation because you're being fed constantly that things are not as they really are up there. And to see the truth, they might change their minds if they're open-minded enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's why. I mean, I think potentially the only anti-Earth person might be Lily at this point, but that's why I break it down between like the two large movements right now are just pro-Mars and anti-Mars, and how that kind of universe kind of swirls around a little bit. But yeah, based on what she's saying, I think she's the only one that actually has an anti-Earth sentiment at this point. We'll see if that changes, but still.
Right on. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Exactly. Agreed. And so then we get a kind of a cool sci-fi aspect of this story that apparently, I don't know how For All Mankind did this, but we've got much better stealth technology in the For All Mankind universe than we even can understand in our current time, because for some reason they cannot see this ship approaching. And even Aleda says, we would have, if it was out there, we would have seen it months ago. She didn't say months ago, but that is true, though, that if something was coming for them, they would be able to see it from far away. But they cannot see this particular ship.
Yeah, I think that this is the only moment where the science might be a little bit more wonky than I think they would prefer. But I think ultimately it's like The Expanse does this too, and people like to say The Expanse is like one of the most grounded or realistic science fiction franchises out there.
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah, even though you have to take that with a grain of salt, because there's like literally the whole crux of the whole series is built around like an alien thing. So not really.
But the alien thing. Well, that's a fun part of aliens. They can be whatever our imagination designs them should be.
I mean, perhaps, but at that point, you're basically still playing with the same exact sort of space opera tropes that have been going on for decades and centuries. But I think the interesting thing with this element, though, is that in The Expanse, they had this whole idea of like stealth tech, where you could kind of like mask the image optically and kind of like blind whatever sensors to your silhouette. Which, okay, that's at least somewhat scientifically plausible, but in order to like have legitimate stealth, you would need to like find a way to shunt excess heat, and at this moment that would violate like the laws of thermodynamics, and I don't think that that's possible, because I think even here they mentioned that the only reason they found it was because they were like bouncing Doppler radar off of stuff. So that's possible. I think they were basically doing like an echolocation thing on him.
Oh, is that how they found it? Of course, that makes sense. Thermal signatures. Hello and welcome to Lance from the Outcast Creative. How are you doing?
Hello, Jill, one of the most authentic YouTubers and lovely people that I know, who is definitely not AI, and I hope YouTube is listening. Don't ever cancel this channel. Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm good. I've got a industry interview at 8 o'clock, and I have the people calling me just after 6 o'clock my time, about 6:15, for a tech check. So I've got 25 minutes, and I am also polishing off the remains of my lunch. So, well, dinner really. So I'll mute myself occasionally. But I did watch this episode. Oh my God, such a good episode. Such a good
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Since we only have you for a little bit, what have you thought of the season as a whole?
I mean, the season as a whole, I love it. I think it's got great characters, great drama. I like seeing Toby Kebbell come to the fore, and he's an actor who's got a bit of a history himself of going through some up and downs and self-discovery and putting his career back on track. And I think he sort of got he got a lot of fame quite early, and it all went to his head a bit. And then
That's Walt, right?
Yeah,
no, that's Miles.
Toby?
Miles.
Oh, Miles. Sorry, I was trying to figure. I don't remember the actor's name. So
yeah,
Toby is Miles.
he's
Okay.
a Brit. He's a British actor.
Wow, he does a great American accent. I did. Oh,
Yeah,
I
he's
no clue.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be pulling off like a Texan accent because that's I think where he's supposed to have been from.
Yeah,
but I think he does it well enough.
Texan infused with Mars, so you know,
Well, now, yeah.
Martian accent.
Yeah, what is
But
Martian?
I really like this show, and obviously it's, you know, it's building up to a big climactic thing in the last episode. I think it's going to end with there's going to be some kind of alien contact of some sort, like a message or communique or you know, which will force them to stop fighting and to reevaluate their approach. You know, and that would be a great way for the show overall to end. But I think they've given it another season. Is there another one coming after this? Is that right?
It's one, just one more.
That's the last one.
Yeah, season 6 will be the
We
last
might get
season.
that might be the ending of season. If I was writing it, that'd be the ending. I'd give it.
I mean, I was kind of speculating earlier.
I'm just hoping for some microbes this season. What were you speculating, Philip?
No, I think we're gonna definitely get microbes at the end of the season, but that's still gonna be like a, you know, an earth-shattering sort of revelation, because then it's gonna seem like the elements of life can proliferate pretty much anywhere. But yeah, I think that'll be a good way to end it. But
we've already had the discovery of microbes in reality. That's actually happened. So
well, but those were implanted from Earth, though. Those were transplants from Earth that just happened to survive in space. And so we have not found any native microbes.
You're not talking about the underwater funnel jet, the things around the funnel jets underwater?
Oh, okay. But that's Earth-based. Yes, microbes. But you mean microbes living in extreme environments that make no sense for them to live because they don't have any access to the photosynthesis from the sun and all of this, but they're still alive. So that is
I'm not talking
evidence
about ET here, but like single-celled organisms or what have you.
Yeah, you're talking about under the ocean. I understand that, but they're not able to get to. They're not
on Earth. I'm talking about under the ocean on various planets in our solar.
Well, there's speculation actively on
Europa,
because we don't know for sure. I mean, Europa is one of those prime candidates for like a subsurface ocean, that there might be life kind of like clustering around like hydrothermal vents that are warm and capable of like helping sustain them a little bit.
Yeah, it's possible. We have evidence on Earth that happens, definitely.
Yeah, we assume that Europa's ice sheet might be a little bit thicker than we thought before, even though we thought it was pretty thick already. So I don't know how it's going to actually work when we get over there to like mine far enough in there to actually go and see, like send a probe down and find out. But a place like Titan, where
we're kind of afraid to dig into Europa because we're afraid to disturb the life that might be there, and so there's that's well,
I mean, we're gonna have to find out who exactly wants to make that whole trek over there to do that. But I mean, there's some people saying that there could be the ice sheet could be something like 60 miles thick.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even like dug that far deep on Earth, so I would be surprised if we could even crack the crust of that. But where like on Titan,
I'm not
we have lakes
expecting
and
dolphins,
rivers.
but I'd be happy with some microbes. We have not yet found any.
I mean, it would seem
microbes.
It would seem that if anything, it would be like, what would they call them? Molecular or microbial mats, like whole like sheets of something that would end up. It would still be life. It would just be a particular kind of life that we probably only saw like in early years of Earth, and possibly
like just like the basic DNA structure.
No, it would actually be life. It would just be like clustered together as like they call them like fractal life, where it's like, you know, you can take a chunk off of it, it'll still constitute whatever entity that it is.
Like mushrooms.
Kind of. It's a speculative form of biology that we're kind of only barely trying to understand.
Wouldn't it be funny if cliffhanger at the end of season 6, which was like the official end of the show, if they shot an ending that they managed somehow to keep completely secret, and the ending of season 6 was the Vulcan first contact.
Well, I made that joke actually on a Facebook thread.
It's not impossible that could happen. If rights,
I probably laughed last time.
If rights were negotiated, wouldn't that be cool? Because then this would all be official Star Trek canon, and it would prove we've now had a really good Star Trek show.
Paramount might have a problem with that, so we probably won't get that exactly. So, but
I think we'll probably get like a Star Trek adjacent thing. Like it'll look aesthetically like Star Trek. Like you might have multicolored uniforms. You might have something that looks like a bridge, but it won't be Star Trek. It'll just be kind of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just that'll be good. Like Calypso from Black Mirror. But anyway,
USS Callister, yeah.
Oh, Callister, right. That's it. I don't know why I said Calypso.
USS Calypso is a different show, Jill, but I'm sure it's entertaining.
Yes, it's a different show, completely different. But anyway, so far for this episode, we're talking about the ship that is approaching Mars, the invasion force to take back the asteroid, and we've talked about Lily finishing Golsora's documentary, and she's starting that. And let's see, right now they're confirming that ship is on its way. And we were talking about how stealth technology in the For All Mankind universe is very good to be able to mask their heat signatures, which, as Philip says, does not follow thermodynamics, but it is a sci-fi show, so maybe they have an excuse somewhere there.
Yeah, I didn't understand what I call mankind's technobollocks. It's the same thing we used to call Star Trek when they start talking about quantum fibrillator.
I've actually never heard of technobollocks. I always hear technobabble, so that's
yeah. In the UK,
I think we might need to
technobollocks.
I think we might need to change it to that.
I like it too.
And we can't say that phrase on Retro Nerd Girls channel. We have to keep it child friendly. But
oh really? I didn't. Okay, I don't mind bollocks because it's not a bad word here, so I don't care.
Yeah, I barely understand what it actually means, but yeah.
Right, exactly.
It means
Huevos.
It means Star Trek gonads.
Yeah.
In other words, nonsense. It's a bollocks in the UK is another word for nonsense. Stop talking bollocks. Stop talking nonsense.
Yeah, I think from the context clues, I usually get that impression that that's what you guys mean when you say it. But
yeah. But I have a question for you both because I think I missed something.
Sure.
I had this on in the background when I was working, but I will admit that I stopped work several times because All Mankind is that kind of show, and I put it on full screen, especially for the last 20 minutes. So there's something that I may have missed earlier debates. There was a lot of conferences. There was a lot of conferences and a lot of talking, and for a minute I thought I was in the Phantom Menace again. There was a lot of meetings in this episode, and then you, of course, all of that
trade embargoes.
Yeah, there was. Well, we weren't quite on trade embargoes. It was all good stuff. It was meeting scenes played by great actors with great dialogue are fine. You only have to watch the movie The Insider with Russell Crowe and Al Pacino. That is basically a movie of meetings. That's all it is. It's just a series of meetings, that film. But it's absolutely fantastic drama. It's really gripping because it's great dialogue, great script. So you have that here. So I didn't mind all of that. But, I do tune out of that when it gets a bit technical. So my understanding was the mission to go to the asteroid was to blow up, I think it was the kind of the facility that was making the asteroid valuable. So effectively the asteroid would become useless.
Well, what they're doing is the asteroid itself won't be useless, but they're destroying the platform so that it is useless in terms of they cannot mine the iridium. There's no way to transport it.
Right.
Yeah, they're blowing up the landing, the docking platform.
That was my question. So, because the explosion didn't seem that big and it didn't seem like it blew up that much of the facility.
Oh, that is why I actually really love this episode, because where we were just talking about how the science is a little iffy, the science on that explosion was perfect because it did destroy the platform, but
No.
it didn't. It wasn't this big crazy Hollywood explosion where everything goes crazy. Because in the vacuum, it would have been a contained explosion like that.
Yeah, I loved that, and I loved how it looked, and the fact that it was all just basically fragmented metal coming out into space. That was all fantastic stuff. It reminded me of Gravity, but that whole sequence reminded me of Gravity when she's pulling along the rope and all that stuff, and when she sees the guy's dead. So the objective then was to blow up the landing platform so the stuff can't be taking off the asteroid. And of course, the whole process of landing new crews and building a new platform, that's going to set them back a couple of years. So that's basically the thinking here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Now I've got it. Right. I was a little unsure as wow. They only blew up part of the
You're not alone.
Conversation here.
You're not alone. Arena in the episode says the same thing. She says, "You're going to blow up the asteroid," and of course, that's exactly what the viewer might think too. So she was right there with you. And they were like, no, just the platform. I want to say hello to Herc130, who likes my Jill Notes bot, because Jill Notes bot has shared the link to his channel where he does lots of really great car restorations and does fun stuff with mechanics.
We love the Jill Notes bot.
Yeah.
How do I get a Lance Notes bot on my channel?
Well, basically, you just make a new YouTube channel. And I use
another channel.
You don't have to put anything on the channel. It's just another account, and then you use Mix It Up bot, and Mix It Up bot is what I use instead of like Stream Elements or Streamlabs.
Damn, Jill, maybe that could be the cause of all your problems, that you created this other channel. You're not using it for anything, but it's doing something with this channel. Maybe that's the emergency activation button, YouTube HQ. Who knows?
I've looked into it though. It's supposed to be okay.
No, I'm sure it's fine. I'm being facetious. Well,
yeah, no, but every idea stresses me out, Lance. Sorry. Too. They can take my monetization if I have to give up my Jill Notes.
I've got more questions that I'm going to need that you
hopefully we can give you some good answers.
Clarify for me. So there's a shot where the lander's coming in. And at that point, they say, hey, the line isn't, we've got company, kid, but it could have been. And they're coming in. And I saw what looked like in one shot, because I haven't had a chance to rewatch it. And by the way, I always watch all the episodes of For All Mankind. I always watch them twice. Because this is a show I am going to buy the Blu-ray box set of when the whole thing's out.
Oh, yeah, me too. Me too. That'll be beautiful, I bet.
But I'm going to wait till the whole thing's out, but I am going to get it. So you see this kind of dropship type thing, which I'm assuming is the ship that detaches from the SS Arse Kicker or whatever the name of it is, the big ship that's coming.
USS Bradford, It's called a Condor.
Condor. That's definitely an ass-kicking name. Looks like one of the ships from Babylon 5, which just goes to show how great Babylon 5 was.
I was pointing that out earlier.
Much nicer CGI and all that. So they detach this mini vessel, which is a bit like the dropship from Aliens, that's got this squad on it that includes the daughter of the guy who passed away, the sort of illegitimate daughter. And there's a shot, and you can see the dropship.
Oh, she's a Stevens. She is Stevens.
Well, she is a legitimate daughter. She's just estranged.
Yeah.
Well, she's estranged herself. She's decided not. She's decided not to take the name. She estranged herself.
Yeah. She's not in the public consciousness as his daughter, right?
Right. No. She doesn't want anybody to know that.
Got a Wikipedia page with, "Hey, I'm the daughter of blah blah," and I'm also.
No, I think because when she was talking to Marcus, he didn't even know. So it's not public knowledge.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody knows that she's the
illegitimate
granddaughter.
Kid, in a way. That's what you call them over here.
Yeah, she's a granddaughter of Gordo and Tracy, and they're legendary.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They would know.
Sure.
They would know her.
Yeah. So, no. I'm not saying people haven't sanctified who she is, but she's not being. It's not in the public domain that this is who this person is.
No.
So,
there's the ship.
So basically, there's a shot of that ship at one point, kind of going along the side of the whatever it is, the refinery / launch / landing pad in the asteroid station, and it's kind of got searchlights on it. It's only one shot, and it's not that far from the landing pad when the landing pad blows, and then but we don't see it again, so we don't see where it is in relation to the explosion. But if it's anywhere near there, and those guys were pulling along that rope to get into that craft, and that's where they were, that craft would definitely be within the radius of taking shrapnel damage from that explosion, from the bits of debris flying through space.
Well, I mean, true, but also, there's also this other issue that I don't think the show. Well, we won't know until probably the next episode if it's illustrated properly. But when there's an explosion in space, pretty much everything that's a part of that explosion, like the shrapnel pieces, are going to move at the same speed pretty much forever until something slows it down or it hits something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a little interesting to see how, it would imply that shrapnel from the blast would ultimately strike whatever's nearby, and obviously it did.
But it went out in all directions and was really interesting. Great to see you in the chat, Jamie. I'm sorry for my wafflings are not as informative as they might be. I like the way Jill just moved
that's okay.
a miniature Star Trek ship across the board. That was quite entertaining. That's your map.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is part of increasing what YouTube wants, and I used to have this, but now I brought it back, and I also made it so that it trails to bring more action. Whenever I'm saying, hey, look, there's that ship Lance is talking about. We're totally talking about the slide that is on the screen.
The shot of this ship, that's the lander, isn't it?
I think that's the first lander. That's the one that has the bombs in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There's another lander right below it.
Yeah.
They
The
take
one
to leave.
kind of got a red color, sort of red, sort of slightly tarnished color. Then I think so where the refinery is, which is the big silver thing that's not in shadow, kind of in the middle section there. There's another shot in the film where you can kind of see the dropship thing, and it's in the shadow behind that. And that's when they go, hey, there's somebody else here, and you see it moving, and it's got some like little searchlights and things on it. I may have missed it, but I don't recall seeing any other shots of that vehicle. And it, like I said, I may have missed it because I was also.
No, I think you're right. I don't think there's. I think there's just that one little shot of the Condor, and that's pretty much all you get.
Yeah, and it's around.
Yeah,
there.
I think I missed taking that slide because I'm also taking fewer stills these days.
Yeah,
I'm making changes.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, so
that's a good encouragement for people to watch this episode.
Where is that ship in relation to the explosion when the explosion happens? Because they literally had a really short period of time from, oh my God, there's a bomb on here, to we need to get out of here.
It was like maybe 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah, relatively short period. I would have liked to have seen, and it was probably a budgetary thing, but I would have liked to have seen the reaction from the rest of the team, because where are they? Where, everybody's now got to scramble.
Exactly. Well, but that makes me think, are they safe? Because the explosion didn't look that big, but the destruction of the platform could have exposed them to space.
Yeah, and I mean you kind of, that shot of the girl screaming into the helmet. Oh my God! You can't hear her, which is a realistic
space. No one can hear you scream.
So powerful though. So my God, she might as well have been. It was really powerful, and I thought this is where the episode's going to end. Of course, that was right, and the thing when she turns around the guy and you can see there's a shrapnel piece that's gone through his helmet and out the back of his head. That was straight out of Gravity, because you got that same thing in Gravity, where they pan round into the shuttle and you can see there's a thing that's gone through the window, and the head's missing of the guy who's piloting the shuttle. His whole face has been like blown out. But yeah, this is a really good episode. What a cliffhanger. So that mission has failed spectacularly, which raises the stakes. And
the Marine mission has failed?
Yeah, the Marine mission has failed. Now what are they going to do? Just come in and steam in, and
they could still take the Phoenix. They could still
they have justification.
base.
Yeah.
So, have I missed it, or have they stated what the military complement is on board that approaching ship, the Condor?
No,
How many?
there's no.
We don't know how
No,
many.
there's some rumors online that it could be as many as 30, but I think it's way more than that.
Well, it looks like a ship that could handle a couple of, could carry a couple of hundred Marines, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it has
That
like
many.
thousands or I don't think it's a battlestar
No.
size thing or anything, but I think you're right. It's probably a couple hundred.
Yeah. So, 5 or 6 platoons maybe or something like that. So I like the fact that they're keeping this very small, and all the decisions are being made around sort of practical scientific things that work within the universe that's created. If suddenly that ship was coming up and it had kind of like laser guns on the front and all of this nonsense, that would kind of ruin it for me. But I've only got a couple of minutes, so just to say, I mean,
Oh, that time passed by so fast. Thank you so much for joining us, Lance. No, it was good. It was good. I loved every second.
This is an outstanding episode for me. It's a 9 out of 10 episode. I really like some of the actors that are coming to the fore, because we had that kind of core cast for so long, and the last 2 seasons have been like a changing of the guard. I really miss Chris Marshall though in this show, because she's
well, I'm glad we got her at least that one time, it was a couple episodes ago where she was meeting
she's on Avery's side. So if Avery seems alone, like she's alone, she does have her as an auntie.
Yeah, no, I liked the fact that they brought her back for a guest cameo. That was lovely, because I follow her on Insta, and she said, "Hey, back on the show this week," or whatever. But
I've seen that too.
Yeah, she's such a good talent. I mean, she's just, and her character, I love her character, and so we've lost several really big characters, and that's quite a big risk for a show like this to take. But it just goes to show the reason this show is so good is because it takes those risks. That's what makes this show great, that it takes those kinds of risks, and it makes it entertaining and interesting, and above all, unpredictable. You never know. Anyone could die at any time in this show.
I think the only legacy character we have now is Aleda.
And Aleda was a kid at the very beginning. So that's the only reason she's still around.
She's the only one who's a constant part of the story. There are 2 others, I think, that are still alive, which is the lady who ended up in the Russian prison.
Yeah, Margot.
Argo, who's like the most infuriating character. You like her, but you hate her.
I love her and I hate. It's both. It's both.
She's had to make some very difficult decisions.
She has indeed.
But it started, but Margot's story started off like on a very positive note, where she was not betraying the U.S. for any nefarious reason. It was because she didn't want the Russians to encounter the same fate that would have almost destroyed the Challenger in the For All Mankind universe.
Yeah. No. Her reasoning was sound, but her ethics were misguided.
It was after that, when she carried on with the subterfuge, when she carried on to continue to be a spy, continue to do things underhandedly. That she went off the rails.
Embraced communism and found that it wasn't all that, like many people back then. I know. So you got her, you got Chris Marshall's character, you got 3 of those 3 ladies. I think that's it. I think all the male characters have all gone now from the original lineup, and
I think Ed was the last one.
But Ed, they had a great send off for Ed. I think that was the best of the early season.
Oh yeah, and this is not a complaint on my part, but it just goes to show how strong a show it is when the narrative is so good in a show. It doesn't matter which characters are there, because if the narrative is strong, it will bring, it will naturally bring characters to the fore. And the ones who are now becoming the lead players, most of them have had 2 seasons of setup time for us to kind of get them into those key chess positions, as it were.
Except for Alex. This is his season to finally shine, but he's
the kid?
He's just started. Yeah, the kid.
Yeah.
Kelly's son.
Yeah. So,
But I like what they're doing with them a bit. But I think Avery's a little stronger.
all right, listen, I've got to go, but thanks so much for having me on briefly.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Just we hope to have you next time too.
Yeah, listen, I'll try and pop on for the end of the season because it would be good to get into that.
Right on. Yeah, you're welcome anytime. And thanks for joining for this one. And have a great show. It sounds like it's going to be a really good one. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, I'm
it's a Star Trek show today, right?
No, tonight. No. Yeah, so I'm interviewing the guy behind Axanar in a couple of weeks. So he's coming.
Oh, that's 2 weeks. Gotcha.
Yeah, my guest tonight is actually an ex Afghanistan war veteran who runs clubbing nights in the southeast coast of southwest coast of England. But he's also terminally ill from cancer. So tonight's interview is really, really hard hitting. It's gonna be good, but I'm glad we're doing it. But it's this might.
Well, it's always rough.
Yeah, this might be his last interview. So he's coming on with his daughter. So it's gonna be very, very powerful. That's why I've got to go and prepare for it. So thank you guys. I'll speak to you again.
Thank you.
All right. I sort of had that on when I interviewed Chuck Huber, where I had a friend who was passing, but nobody knew it because he didn't want anybody to know. But he essentially took over my interview and interviewed Chuck Huber, and I think he was so happy. We weren't honest about it because he didn't want to be, and of course you got to respect that based on whatever.
No, this guy's been very open about his diagnosis and also talked about his PTSD and to do with the war, and we're going to get into all of that. So it's not going to be my run-of-the-mill interview tonight. It's going to be very different. Anyway,
well, it's going to be very personal. Have a good show, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Have a good one.
And subscribe to the Outcast Creative. He does incredible interviews like the one he's going to be doing tonight and or today if you're here in the US or depending on wherever you are, he's going to do that. And he's a wonderful channel. He's really great and a wonderful, even better friend. If he sometimes he calls me up to make me feel better. So he's awesome.
I love Lance.
Yeah, Lance is cool. And subscribe here too. It is, yeah. He's gonna have a rough time. Thank you, Jamie, for sticking with us here, and Herc 130 and Grogu and everybody who is listening today. We're gonna continue with the episode. It was that was a fun interlude with Lance, and
gotta get back to it. So I think we left off on what was it?
I don't even remember. Not this. This is the end of the episode.
Yeah, no, I think we were right after.
We were just discovering that the Earth is coming to invade Mars.
Yes, but we also, I think we just stopped with Alex and Lily talking about like how they can kind of support the movement. I think we just finished up on that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did, we did talk a little bit about the ship incoming and Aleda's saying that he's a bit naive for trusting Arena, that she kind of doesn't think that there is a ship out there, but so she's ready to dismiss him, but the scientist in her also wants to definitively prove him wrong, so she does everything she can to extend the long range radar to pick it up, and like you said, they use Doppler shifts to find it, and Shireen, who's nice to know her name, is there, and she's found it. She's been able to figure out where it is, and so we get that confirmation. And also in this scene we learn that Aleda is here to stay until Titan returns safely. So she's not really there for Martian independence. She's there for searching for life on Mars. She's there for Helios. And the second that Titan returns, she will go back home to her family.
Yeah.
She's not going to be somebody who wants to live on Maru, basically.
No.
And yes, well, it's consistent with the low RCS ship, which is what she says. And Shireen says Doppler shift indicates it's on track for Mars 3 days out. Best guess. And that is what we know. Just 3 days, that's not a lot, which is good because we don't have a lot of season left. And so Also, now we're in a board meeting, just like Lance was saying. It's a lot of board meetings. We got a board meeting because we're gonna be bored. No, I'm kidding. No, but these are well done board meetings. They're talking about how they only have 2 more weeks of supplies, and that they're no closer to becoming independent because their demands are not even being looked into. So they're being stonewalled, and so they need to figure something out. And well, they've got somebody from North Korea, and if anybody knows how to fight an invading force when they are the inferior force, it would be someone from North Korea. So Lee comes up with the idea to blow up the platform, as we were mentioning before, and Miles has some skills I didn't know about. He knows how to turn an explosive. He knows how to make one from fertilizer, and he actually explains how to do it a little bit. And it's like kind of interesting that he knows that.
I was kind of thinking that maybe it was something he learned from, doing the oil rig stuff. Like it's some way to like how you crack soil or something, or maybe it's just like a quirk of his personality. Perhaps maybe he's just like on Earth he might have been a little bit of a pyro. Who knows?
Oh, maybe. Oh, I like the answer in regard to his oil rigging days. That might make some sense. But or it could be a hobby. If it being a hobby is a little more concerning than it being part of his job. But anyway, the plan is to blow up the platform, which will keep Earth from benefiting from the iridium shipments again, because that's what they're really trying to do, because economic collapse is happening both to the United States and to the Soviet Union because of this. So they're both having very big difficulties, and so they need to get it back because they base their entire economy on it, and now they're reaping the pain, the suffering of not having it. And so it really makes so much sense. Lee comes up with it. It's very risky, but we have no other choice, he says. And so Miles also informs them about what he learned with Arena and Lenya, that they just have to hold out for a little while and the Soviet Union is going to help. But of course, as we've seen with Margot, Soviet Union helping is not always the best thing. So let's, how much do you want to trust a society that is embracing communism? But as you were saying earlier, before this current regime, before this current Soviet president, they were kind of backing away from that, kind of becoming a bit more like, I guess, the best real world, our side of the planet, our side of reality. The best one I can think of is Hong Kong, whereas China itself is very much communist, but Hong Kong is kind of like a microcosm that is communist, but it also embraces a lot of capitalism, which is why it succeeds way more than the rest of the nation.
I mean, it's interesting too because modern China isn't really even like embracing communism the way it used to. It's like a state capitalist country where you still have, like, China has billionaires because there are billionaire investors in the party who will go out and invest around the world. And so it's kind of fascinating that that's what's going on there. But I think Hong Kong is a good example of where things were prior to this. And I do think that it might not even resemble that when Polivanov ends up in power, because I kind of feel like Russia might finally shed its, whatever flirtations with communism and maybe shift toward something more akin to like especially with what's going on Mars. I feel like that is definitely going to, infuse whatever this new Russian state would be. So I'm assuming it would be something like what we see in the Scandinavian countries, like a social democracy.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out if their plan
Yeah, if not
pans
them,
out.
it'll be Mars that ends up that way. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, he also repeats to them the alternative is life in prison and no Martian independence. So they have no choice. So they're going to do that. And And yeah, the M6 won't be able to get any iridium, but like I was saying earlier with Lance, they'd still be able to take over the Phoenix or secure an occupation in Happy Valley. So we're going to it's a last resort option, but the problem is they don't have a first one.
Well, we have 3 potential fields of battle coming pretty soon. We have, as you mentioned, the Phoenix. We also have Happy Valley. But then there's also a possibility that, sort of doing this scorched earth policy that we've already seen Mars do, we might see an attack on the ISN compound. Although I think that's more of like a tertiary potentiality. I think that Phoenix is closer in relative distance from everything else. So I would see that as like the next place to go on the way to Happy Valley to kind of tamp down this revolution.
And the ISN has made it clear that they do not want war. So they will do whatever the Marines tell them. Whatever M6 tells them to do, it seems like they're going to capitulate.
Yeah.
So we're going to see how that plays out. Definitely. In the coming next 2 episodes. But we're going to cut back to Avery on the transport ship. And she's running on the treadmill. She's running out her frustrations. She's I don't think this is the moment where she runs up the dial just yet, but she's going to do that later. Right now, we just see her staring at the Mars looming forward to her, and it is a good shot in cinematography. Like I'm not an expert here, but I like the symbolism of this.
Yeah,
looks good, and she's obviously thinking about her lineage and all of that, and that is always something that hangs over her shoulder, and seeing another world brings that into focus for her. It is something that she thinks she can control.
Yeah.
And here's her friend here, Marcus. And he's bad at poker, apparently. It's good, a little bit good levity and friendship here. And he is currently grieving over Gosora because, he was in the first episode, and it's a good reminder because I kind of forgot. I forgot Marcus was friends with Lily and Alex. It's kind of something you don't think about because they were just in the first episode.
I mean, it's good that they have him there, to bounce off of Avery, because ultimately he is like the only person in the entirety of the Marines at this point who has any sort of experience on Mars at all. That's why they bring him in the next scene to discuss whatever he knows. But I'm really
and that
curious
this other guy kind of he picks on him. He said, "Don't forget whose side you're on, Marsy."
Yeah.
And so he's already split between worlds.
And that was a Russian.
A
Russian member of the M6 telling him that.
Or was it? And they've been tasked to pre-invasion reconnaissance on the asteroid. So they're sending in a secret force to go ahead to steer ahead of the big ship, Bradford, as he called it, and to get to the asteroid sooner to see what's the lay of the land, basically what's going on. And Avery is a part of it, and Marcus and Sergeant Commander Ruiz is going to be there too. And like you said, Marcus is telling them all about Mars, that he, at least what he knows about them, and so we get a little help from that, and his ideas are confirmed. Yes, Palmer is verifying exactly, and that's good. And it feels a bit like Starship Troopers.
A little bit,
because it's all a bunch of young kids. I don't see a lot of older vets. I guess except for a few.
I think there's at least the commander of that ship looks like he has like a. It's not clear if it's a Navy ship or if it's just it's like a Navy ship with like a Marine contingent on it. But whatever the case is, that ship is either commanded by or run by what would be considered on the rankings structure of the military as an 05 because he has like a silver oak leaf on his collar. So either he's a commander or he's a lieutenant colonel, but either way, he's an officer and he's running that ship. So I find that interesting. That we're getting kind of a little bit of a taste of the dynamics there, as well as you see someone beside him who has like an Indian flag on his shoulder. So this is not only is it the M6, nations contributing to this mission, but pretty much everybody is contributing in almost equal ways, which I find fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And Marcus says that there's no weaponry or security of any kind on the asteroid, and so that's a part of what he provides.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. It's a collaborative effort of more nations coming together, even if they're coming together for an invasion force. This is more of Ronald D. Moore saying this is the prequel to Star Trek, where Earth stops seeing themselves as individual nations, but they start coming together to see themselves as the planet. And that's definitely part of it. Even if they're still a bit broken up, they're starting to come together.
Mm-hmm. And then, the interesting thing about that is not only do you have these M6 people on an American, what it seems seemingly American spaceship, but the Russians are now freely able to walk about that ship with like no issues at all. So, it just goes to show that when Al Gore last season said that the Cold War was over, it's literally over. And
True.
Now Russians can just, go on a military ship and nobody bats an eye. It's just like you're a part of this thing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, working together.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that pans out. Anyway, we're also on Titan now, and so we've got the Sojourner Titan ship on this world, Titan world, which is supposed to be more reddish in color, as you pointed out to me. I actually wouldn't have known that, but I appreciate
it's like a amber rust color. It's really weird, but it's like I said, subtle difference between that and then what we see on Mars right now. So
it's apparently an artistic just.
Yeah.
So we've got a little problem on Titan because they landed safely, but they landed too far away from the position that they should have landed in order to reach the zone where the Seeker was to search for life in the zone that the Seeker found potential life. And so Kelly immediately comes up with the cool solution. Hey, just drop one of us, and just instead of 4 of us going over there, if we just have 3, it's possible that we might be able to make it to the zone where we need to search for life. And so that seems to be what everybody agrees on, except for one of the crew. Oh, I was trying to see what everybody's name is, but Stewart is the one who says, hey, okay, this is all well and good, Kelly, but you're not the commander. So what does the commander have to say about this? So this is great. This is what he says here. And he's right. But the commander is indisposed at the moment. He has not done anything ever since they landed. He's been obsessing over all his technical manuals, over all the notes, over all his mathematics. What has gone wrong? Why didn't we slingshot around Mars? I mean, why didn't we slingshot around Saturn and come back to Mars? Why didn't that work? And what did I do wrong? Is there something wrong mechanically with the ship? Because that would be terrible. And so we need to check all those systems. Or was there something wrong with my programming? Because it says here that I put in all of the correct trajectories and everything should be coming up roses. But instead, it's absolutely just not what he intended. He was the commander of the ship, and now he feels out of control, and he's lost it a bit. He's not doing good.
Yeah, no, he's spinning.
Mm-hmm. And so he's completely not into finding life right now. He's into finding out the problem that he believes that he inflicted. He's devastated that the burn didn't happen the way he intended, and he's convinced of his mistakes, but he just needs to figure out what that error was to ensure it never occurs again. So yeah, I can relate to feeling like I've made an error, not being able to figure out where it is. As particularly in computer science and programming is always a very difficult thing. You have to debug everything. You have to step through every single line of code, every single step that you made, every calculation, everything. And that takes time. And he is doing it. And so what my fear is that he's going to figure it out on his own before Kelly can be responsible and tell him the truth. And I don't know which is going to happen. I'm hoping that she is able to own up to her subterfuge, her sabotage sooner rather than later. But this is a very real thing that scientists of all kinds have to deal with. And it makes sense that he's having this issue. But he's also part of this crew, so he should be able to make the command decision to say, yes, this is an issue, but also there's more important things to do, like find life, but he just cannot do it. He's become obsessed, unfortunately. And that is sad to see. You really feel kind of sad for him in terms of like she's done this to him and she won't tell him. It hurts a bit. And she's about to say, hey, this is what happened.
But right when the opportunity arises, another opportunity arises in its place.
Yeah. and Walt just he's not in the mindset to blame her. Like he doesn't like her. But now he's doesn't like himself even more because he thinks he's done this. And he just can't fathom somebody doing what Kelly did. And so he doesn't even consider it.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think that they might do a thing where she does tell him, but through all those hours of him poring over it, that he starts to not believe it. And so Kelly has to do everything she can to like convince him even further.
Oh no, you're saying he's gonna get a kind of technical space madness.
I do. I think that's coming.
Why do you always got to do that to the guys, man? Kelly was the one who to put everybody at risk, not Walt. But he's putting the pressure on himself. And yeah, so it's just one of those things. So like you said, he right when she's about to right when she's going to tell him, he says, you got to take command. You take the reins of the mission. And she decides that she doesn't want to tell Walt the truth now that she's got the leadership. And I understand why. Her only objective is to find life. And she's been trying to find life for over a decade. She's, ever since she went out, wherever was it, Antarctica. And then of course, searching in the crater all these years, she just this has been her life ever since she was just right out of military school. So of course she risked everything to make it happen, to make landing on Titan happen. But it has left, she is not a victimless crime. She has left Walt in shambles. And in the last episode, I supported this subterfuge, but I cannot support her not owning up and taking responsibility for this particular thing. And it's very difficult. This is very much, this is why I've said she's gone full Ed. Ed frustrates me in the same way in some certain cases. And so she's done it. She's achieved it.
Well, I guess you're right then. She has gone full Ed.
She has, and he would support her in this particular instance.
I mean, ultimately, it is working out for her because she's now going to be at least commanding this portion of the mission, it would appear.
Yeah, exactly. But I do like where her particular storyline goes at the end. She kind of makes up for it later, but it's just we'll see that in a little bit. And yeah, I thought she was brave last time, but now I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do? You're stressing me out, Kelly.
Hmm.
So let's get back to Moxie.
Yes.
These logs confirm that the correct Delta V burn was loaded. Oh man, yeah, I could have killed everyone. Look at him. It's a very emotional scene too. But this is the kind of drama that I like from For All Mankind, is when it's very much tied into the scientific mission that has been going on. And he can't trust himself, so he's giving it to her. So back at Moxie, so Miles is telling them of the plan to blow up the platform, and like Lance, just like Lance, Arena is like, "What? You're gonna blow up the asteroid?" No, just the platform. And but still, she's like, "That's insane."
Mhm.
And Aleda agrees, and so Miles says, "Well, it's nice to see you two agree on something."
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it is. There's some small, even with the tenseness and all the war and all that, there's some good comedy bits in these episodes.
Yep.
And so, yeah, if you got Aleda and Arena agreeing on something, then something is very wrong with your plan.
You would think so. But I mean,
Yeah.
at a certain point, it's like this is like the only way they can get their point across, so that, and then ultimately it makes Earth and any of the nations there have to now come to the bargaining table in a way that they otherwise wouldn't want to. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to actually pan out. Because I mean, I don't think that Irina and Aleda are going to like become friends or anything, but I don't know. Maybe there could be some kind of a mutual understanding, if nothing else, in just that moment.
Yeah, it's just a momentary thing. I don't think they're
Yeah.
friends either. It's just
Yeah.
just they're just agreeing that this plan is crazy. And especially not just because of the difficulty of having to do this manually. It's just also that they have to contend with this major dust storm that's happening, that is getting bigger, and it's going to make just getting to the asteroid a little more difficult than it normally is.
Well, we also have to remember that I think it's been a thing in fiction for a while, from the movie Mission to Mars to the movie The Martian, that, and I don't know if anybody's familiar with this, but dust storms on Mars are very prone to plot development. So they seem to only appear when it's necessary for the plot.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just like ion storms in Star Trek, right?
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So the dust storm is an ion storm for all mankind. And so this storm is and not just that, they also have to carry all these unstable explosives because they're made out of fertilizer, and it's just like carrying a unstable TNT with you around. As I said
Yeah.
earlier, that's how powerful each bit of explosive that they have is.
Yeah, it's like moving around in a wagon full of TNT,
Mhm.
and it's pretty much the same thing. Because I mean,
Yeah.
just jostles enough, it'll blow up.
Yeah, there's a huge dust storm. It's getting bigger by the moment, and you want to take a hopper, fill it with unstable explosives, and fly it off into that? Yeah, no. That is a great idea, Leda. She understands the situation. And yeah, so she knows what's going on. And it's a pretty good scene. And not just Aleda, but also yeah, that's a great idea. But Boyd is there and says, "Okay, so who's going to pilot this thing?" She decides that she needs to do it. She doesn't The other people who are qualified to do it have families, and she doesn't have a family. She wants this independence just as much as everyone, and so she decides that she is the one to do it. And so
But you can't
she's
go alone.
volunteered. But she can't go alone, and so we're gonna have Lenya come along too. He's got something to prove. He wants to show the people of the Soviet Union, that he is a leader, that he's able to take a stand. And as Irina said, there are people who support him and what he's doing on Mars in his nation that would enjoy him being a leader on the red planet. And that is oh,
She's seeing the red dots too.
oh, the red dots. Yeah. I don't know if
Did
it's like
did Danny see them?
Danny saw them. Yeah.
Oh, so it must be
Yeah, I
just a
was
Steven
like,
thing. Okay.
what, he saw them in the back, like he saw them in the distance. I don't know if we ever confirmed that they were actually there, but it was
Yeah.
like he was staring at one point he was staring at a VCR, and then at another point he thought he actually saw other people on the moon.
Yeah.
But there's a red dot again. It's just like, okay, that's only for us. Avery does happen to be staring at a red dot, but there's no way she understands the significance of that unless
Probably not.
unless he wrote it down somewhere. Or he told her about it. I'm not sure. Oh, wait, he couldn't tell her about it. She was too little. She was a baby the last time he saw her. So there's no way she would know this unless he told his wife. But he wasn't talking to his wife. He was cheating on her. And so no, none of this makes sense. It's all for the audience. It's all for us to have our callback to that particular moment. And oh, I really like this pad here, tablet. And so yeah, she's basically she's on the treadmill trying to she turns it up really high. She increases the speed from 3 miles per hour to 9. I would fly right off that thing if I tried that. I got yeah, like 5 is enough for me if I'm going crazy. But 9, that's crazy. And I think she realizes that too. She realizes something is off. But yeah, the blinking red light, was it Danny or Gordo? Like, I don't know, maybe both?
I think Gordo saw him first, and then he was relating them to Danny and Ed, and they just thought it was like a manifestation of like space madness.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there you go. And yeah. Let's see. She's oh yeah, and then she also has, this is a great scene where she's talking to her commanding officer, the sergeant here, Sergeant Ruiz.
Yeah.
And he's very good. He's a very good leader here because he is taking her concerns into account. Even though he says, "Hey, why didn't you mention this earlier?" She said she thought she could handle it, but it is something. He's saying it's an order, and she has to reveal that she feels really bad about this in terms of because of her family history. And then he doesn't even, it's not required for him to lay out his family history here because they are professionals, but he does get personal too, saying that he has a problem with his family too. He had a drunk father who used to beat him up and everything, and he gets on her level there in that way. And this is where I got another clip for this particular scene.
We're better than them. And this is how we show it.
And that's and then he tells her to get some rest.
I do think it's funny because this is another San Diego reference, and being from San Diego right now, him mentioning that the Padres lost a lot because they do lose a lot, I think is very amusing, and it just goes to show that even in the like semi-optimistic world of For All Mankind, the Padres are still, um, a team that could have a better record.
I I'm so glad you brought in that perspective today, Phil, because I was like, okay, the Padres, who cares? Because I'm not a sports person, so I didn't know. And
Well,
I
for those San Diego people, I think they're going to come out for me, but still.
well, watch out, Phil. So Keith says, many people lurking. Yeah, hello to everybody lurking. I appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen today. Even if you're very, very busy, it's during the day. I understand a lot of people are working, and it makes sense for you to lurk if you start and I understand that too. There's a lot of times where I lurk too when I'm very busy, and I don't want to get in the chat because then you kind of feel sucked into it, and you can't actually focus on what you're doing. So right on to everybody working while you're listening. Thank you. Thank you very much. Pure Solace is here with a little face. And great to see you guys. And there you go. Yeah. Good moment of humanity there. And just because you're on the side of Martian independence, it doesn't mean you can't have some nice moments from the Martian, not the Martians, the military, the yeah. So the invasion force, they're people too, and Ronald D. Moore is great at that balance. He doesn't decide to pick a side. He makes you think about it, and I think I appreciate that all the time from him. He's really great with that.
Yeah.
And so we're back. Oh, back on Titan again, just as I wanted. We're on Titan more than once here. And this is a pretty good scene where they're setting up everything for the trip. But Kelly has one more person to recruit for the journey, and you're the best of the best for this mission. The foremost expert on Titan, the best exobiologist. She knows that he's more than qualified to. He's the best. He's the one who wants to send the robots to explore, but if he does it himself, he would be a really great explorer. And Kelly sees that, and so since she's given command, she is ordering him to go on this mission with her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think that is sort of a bit of a redemption of this thing. It's like,
well, I mean, it's interesting because she's demonstrating there that she's a good leader, that she, even though she might not like him too much, that she's still willing to, give that olive branch because he still has, a value to the team. And so I think even when it does come out that she did this thing, I don't know. I think that if he ends up being the person who discovers the life on Titan, yeah, I wonder how that's going to change things.
I feel
would he lie for
that
her? I don't know.
it would be difficult. It would be difficult to not feel a sense of pride to be the one to find life, and it is very likely if he goes on this mission, he will be the one to do it. And that is a good choice on her part, because that's all she wants to do, no matter who finds it. She just wants it found.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, yeah, you're right. That is good leadership, even though she's not being completely honest. I do appreciate that she gets him to go on this mission.
But now my head's spinning. I'm like thinking, if
Mm-hmm.
all this happens, like given what ends up happening, like, they took the risk, they got down to the surface, they found
Mm-hmm.
life. But at the end of the day, it's all predicated on the fact that, Kelly essentially kept that from them and risked their lives, but ultimately it led to something amazing. Like at that point, I'm kind of like, it would be interesting to see what Walt does, because if he ends up accepting the fact that she did this, that would be crazy.
Yeah, they find life, and then Kelly's like, "Oh, by the way,
Yeah, I did this thing, and that's how we got here." That would be, and then he just lies for her. He says, "Oh no, she's a great explorer. We got here, without any problem. But it takes risk to get you to where you need to go." That would be crazy.
That would be if he immediately thinks that way. I don't know. That's not exactly within character, but it might happen
Well, we have
if
2
he has.
episodes to kind of make it work, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Risk is our business.
Exactly.
I love that.
The
That's
thesis for the whole show.
her. Yeah, it is. And then we get singing because Lily is just to make sure everybody's sure. Yes, Lily is finishing this documentary for Gosora, and we get a song from Ollie. He's singing a song about how he feels as a Martian resident, as a worker, being told what to do, being told that this place is of opportunity and he will get to grow a family and do all the things and everything, but how he feels like he's been lied to.
Yeah. Arguably, this might be our first example of Martian folk music.
Yeah, I can't deny that. Man, really with the feathered hair. Okay, so I like it. But promised a new life because we wrecked the old world, found a new one to break. And if you listen to the end of all the way to the end of the episode, somebody else sings the song as the end song for the episode.
Yeah, that's true.
This mission looks like a fool's rush for gold. Now you say to completely do as we're told. And so that's the song. And so he talks a bit about it, about how he feels, how we're sick and tired of them trying to hold us down like we don't matter, which is something that I think is relatable to a lot of people. And so it's a good addition here of what Lily is trying to do to show people on Earth what is really going on Mars. So good work, Lily.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're loading the explosives onto the hopper to get up to the asteroid in the middle of a dust storm. Very precarious. Everyone is there to support them and cheer them on. And Lenya says we just need to make sure that needle stays in the green or the yellow until we get through the storm storm top right there in the mesosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Nice graphs, which are great. Great Elcars kind of things. Piece of cake. Yeah. And Lee being the one who came up with the plan, obviously is giving some support. And everybody is working on it. We got Moxie, Hopper 1, so they're ready to launch. And I guess this is we want this to stay in the yellow zone. We don't want it to be in the danger zone. But obviously, we're watching a TV show. It's going to be in the danger zone for a while.
They went to the danger zone.
Danger zone. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. And hey, look, Mad G's still here with some coffee. Oh yeah, more coffee would be nice.
Did we get to Jamie's comments?
Jamie has some comments. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. We've got, couldn't we colonize Venus or Jupiter? Well, okay, so first of all, there's nowhere to land on Jupiter itself. That's why we're going after
well, I mean,
like Europa.
You could potentially build a cloud city in the atmosphere of Jupiter. However, because of the magnetic dynamo at the core of Jupiter, it's like a small planet. The radiation that's in the atmosphere, as well as kind of a little bit further out from the center of it, like that's one of the reasons why we couldn't probably settle Io or Europa, is because those are within the radiation zone. Callisto is just far enough to where it's possible, but Callisto is just like the moon, so there isn't really a place to. You'd have the same situation there. That's why I kind of think Callisto is probably more of a way station to further out than actually like a actual colony place. But Venus is the same thing. You'd need some kind of
Venus is even worse. Like you go on Venus, you're gonna be crushed, like stepping into a microwave.
Well, that's if you wanted to live on the surface. Although there's people coming up with really fun ways to terraform Venus, which I don't know exactly what the ethics of it would be, because they're talking about, oh, we can just slam a bunch of like really big ass asteroids into Venus, and then that'll, clear up some of the smoke. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work the way you think it's going to work. But they say that about a mile up from the surface, the pressure is Earth normal and the gravity is about the same. So you could have cloud cities on Venus, and that wouldn't be too difficult to do. It would actually be faster for us to get to Venus than it would be for us to get to Mars, because Venus is so much closer. But
cloud cities, but we haven't even made a cloud city. Shouldn't we make a cloud city here first?
I mean, we have kind of, where there was like a whole thing where they were building like a solar powered plane that would just perpetually fly. And so there's just not a need for it here on Earth to do that. But you could demonstrate it on Venus if you wanted to.
Okay. Well, there you go. Jamie, you got a great answer for that one. Maybe if there were oxygen. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's where terraforming comes in. Which
if
is
you want
very
to
difficult.
live, if you want to live anywhere in the solar system that has, Earth's the only place that has a nitrogen oxygen mix good enough for humans to live on. Mars, it's carbon dioxide. Pretty much everywhere is carbon dioxide. But yeah, I think that's why I'm a little bit reticent to support the idea of planetary colonization or settlement. And I'm more into like, let's build giant, like they call them O'Neill cylinders. It's like these giant rotating pipes that you build all the living space in the interior portion.
Oh my god!
That's where you basically, that's where you can actually live, where you don't have to actually need a spacesuit. It's just like living on Earth. The only difference is that the horizon would arc upwards and then wrap around.
That sounds really cool. Oh man. Thanks to Jamie for bringing that up. And we'll see if one day we actually carry forth with any of those plans.
Fingers crossed.
I want to thank Matt G. Matt G, on the Rumble side, we have not had any activity on Rumble today until now. Matt G has sent a rant. His rant is a period, he didn't actually say anything. But thank you so much for sending the $1. I don't know, I don't know a lot about Rumble or what's going on, but why is there like a little whale as an icon? I don't understand that part. But anyway, thank you so much.
Interesting.
Yeah. Matt G, I need to make a wrench. How do you do that on Rumble? Do you know? Let me see. I'll do that later. Matt G, I'm going to make you a wrench behind the scenes. I don't see any way to do it right here. Just so you know, that's incoming whenever I figured out. I probably shouldn't do technical stuff while we're trying to talk about the episode. But anyway, that's happening. And, yep, terraforming, maybe someday.
Yep. Well, the sad thing is, like, even if you started it today, they wouldn't be completed with it until like 2,000 or 3,000 years from now, and then Mars is so small it would probably only retain it for like 10,000 years. So,
but in that 10,000 years, you could probably figure out a way to make it more permanent, or make ecosystem external to that, more like give you time to make Peru.
Yep.
And so, yep, they're holding. Everything seems good, but then everything gets the vibration level goes into the warning zone, but they're still safe. I mean, unless you're on the ship and you're like, okay, we're safe, but look at all these explosives. They're not going to feel safe.
I mean, I figured they were going to probably make it out of this, but in the moment, the suspense of it still got me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Things definitely seem iffy, and it could easily go haywire at any moment. So Boyd says, Moxie, I think we're being hit by lightning. This is Boyd saying, thrusters are slow responding, and we're starting to wobble. Vibrations are getting worse. And so Aleda says, lightning. She says, lightning may have hijacked their electrical attitude control. They may be headed into a feedback loop. And so try cycling the thruster bus to the aux. That might discharge the static. And Linnea translates this. You want us to restart our engines in the middle of a dust storm? And yeah, she confirms that. And so basically, have you tried turning it off and on again? Is basically what she's asking them
pretty
to
much.
do.
But this is also, I think, a stealth reference to Apollo 12, because I believe that that's the famous, like, you know, switch SCE to aux thing, where it's like basically change it so that it, you know, you restart the whole program so it can activate again. Because the thing was, Apollo 12, I think, is the only Apollo mission that was struck directly by lightning on the way up into space. So when it did that, it short circuited a bunch of the, you know, controls, and so they had to restart the computer in order for it to continue on, or else they would have been in a very interesting spot on the way up.
Then you're absolutely right. That must be what this is. But since I'm the, you know, IT or, you know, computer scientist, I thought of the IT.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I mean, it's essentially the same thing. So
Yes,
it's still relevant.
It still works, but you gave us the historical context. This is absolutely must be a reference to that. Thank you. And so that's what they do. It actually works. And Arena is cheerleading Lenya. And Aleda obviously notices this. Come on, you can do it. Come on, Lenya. There's a bit of a softness there you don't see from Arena a whole lot. And so that's good to see. Let's see. Let's bring this way. And oh yeah, I love these little shirts. Everything turns out okay. And it works out, and they clear the atmosphere, clear the dust storm.
And everything's in the green.
A effing ride. Which is a good line I could have gotten from Lenya.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great way to punctuate that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they got the explosives through that dust storm. And then we cut back to Avery. And she's okay, so we're here. Oh wow, okay, so these are great shots. I just love Mars. And we know the Mars is headed for the the Martian crew. The hopper is headed to the asteroid, and the reconnaissance ship is headed to the asteroid too. So we've got both the Marines and Martian Independence movement, the Sons and Daughters of Mars, headed to the same place. So this is where the first encounter happens. And we've got, just like Lance was saying, we've got a lot of people here. We've got it's not just Avery and Ruiz who are here. We've got a whole team. We've got Marcus, we've got other soldiers here. And we have no idea what happens to them when the explosion happens.
No.
As we're here. Oh wow. Okay, so we're heading straight for it. Here it goes. So Avery discovers the hopper and reports it to her sergeant, and they investigate this together. So they head off together, and it's really, this set, it's so beautiful, it looks so good. But they notice a bomb here. They discover it, and they've got to get out. They don't have a lot of time because it's been set. Because the others, because Boyd and Lenya were like, okay, let's set this and get going. And unfortunately, let's see. Okay, I think I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, so let's see where we are. And so they think that everybody's been evacuated. Something I didn't mention earlier is that they made a point to evacuate all the miners off the asteroid. Everybody off the asteroid. It doesn't matter how big or small this explosion is. We don't want any chance of anybody getting hurt. And so the Mars Independence does not want to hurt anybody, and they know nothing about this reconnaissance crew, obviously, because it's done under the radar of anybody, and being in a smaller ship, it makes more sense that they can get away with approaching without being seen, and nobody expects them to be there, and once they do discover that they're there, Celia's like, yeah, instantly the tone shifts from celebration to despair and anxiety. There are soldiers on the platform, and Aleda is disturbed the most. You could really see she does great acting here. Abort the destination. Can we abort it? Can we stop it? And we have to warn them. And Boyd says that. Boyd says we have to warn them. Of course they do. But Lenya reminds her that they only have 30 seconds to get away. But she's got to warn them, and she does. And when the explosion happens, oh man, okay, there's Ruiz. There's some mag boots. Those are cool. Love those. There's the bomb hopper, and you said they were still 2 hours away. Yeah, that's the big ship. But the little ship had no idea was going to get to the asteroid first. Is there any way to stop the detonator remotely? She is desperate to stop it, but there is no way. Once it's been set, and that's all. And just a moment, I heard somebody enter the chat. Let's see who that was. Hello? To Gavin. Gavin's here. Hello, Gavin. How are you doing? Do you have a new hamster? What is that? A guinea pig or a hamster? Oh my goodness. You got a new pet? Anyway, good to see you, Gavin. Cut the green wire, says Gavin. Oh, to detonate the bomb? Yeah, I think that, that's not something that Avery tries. Instead, they get away. They get away from the hopper. They start moving away on the wire here. And while Aleda is super upset, she's disturbed at what's happened, at what she's a part of, mostly, I'm sure. She doesn't like to be a part of something like this. She's tried to remain neutral, tried to be like, I'm just here for Titan, and she can no longer. She's a part of it now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's something that is crossing her mind right now, but she's experienced an explosion before.
I wonder if we're going to get a reference to that in the next episode.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's got to be something that weighs on her, because they did show her trauma when she thought Margot was dead, right? Or when she was just standing there and half the building had fallen apart. And so that's got to be weighing on her. But even worse off is Stevens here. So Avery Stevens, Avery Jarrett, as she calls herself, because that's her stepdad. I can understand respecting your stepdad more, but she's got Ruiz here, who realizes this thing's gonna blow up and stuff's gonna fly everywhere. So he pushes her, and he shields her from that shrapnel, but is hit himself. Yeah. And everybody here thinks the platform is gone. It's gone, and that nobody survived. And everybody is mourning that loss. Especially, Lee is especially upset because this was his idea, and it has gone terribly wrong.
I mean, technically,
it was
bombing was a success.
Technically,
but mission failed successfully. Is that what we would say?
Yeah, mission failed successfully in terms of their objective to destroy the platform was a success, but it was a failure diplomatically, because if they had any chance of being peaceful at all with the M6, this is kind of thrown that asunder when you've killed one of them.
I mean, technically, as well.
Yeah,
The
but I mean,
M6
it's just
shouldn't have
like
been there.
they shouldn't have been there, but Lily and the gang and the Scooby-Doo crew shouldn't have been in the habitat domes when Dev attacked it. So it's the same deal.
Yeah.
Dev just wanted to destroy the food. He didn't want to destroy the children. And so
Yeah.
I
Everybody
think
has egg on their face, I guess.
I think
But
they both
yeah.
have very similar blood on their hands.
Yeah, I think that's a good read.
Mhm. But and then anyway, we also get to what Lance wanted to get to right away, which was very good, very the part of the episode that everybody's going to remember is Avery discovering that her friend, her commander, her sergeant, Ruiz, is gone. Somebody who just related with her and was becoming someone that she cared about. And somebody who was never one of the people who was making fun of her in the bar earlier, I think.
No.
And so this is how we end our episode, is she's screaming. But of course it's space. We cannot hear her.
No one can in space. No one can hear you scream.
Mm-hmm.
It's the old alien poster logic.
And it's true.
Yep.
And he got that shrapnel in his head, so just like a speeding bullet right through him.
It was probably quick, but yeah, we don't know exactly. I mean, they assume that everybody died. Obviously that Avery survived this. Obviously, throws that into a little bit of a bone of contention. But I'm thinking we don't even know, like what Lance kind of touched on earlier, where it's like we don't know exactly where in relative position to the docking platform the Condor was. So there's a potentiality that it probably got hit a little bit by whatever happened. We just only were able to see Ruiz as maybe one of the first people to get hit by the shrapnel and ultimately, pass away because of that. But I'm kind of thinking, I didn't think about it until right now, because I was looking. There's been like this 3-generation sort of thing where, space control lady ends up having, or space control person has some kind of a thing to contend with, where it's like Margot, it was her connection to Von Braun, and then eventually, his thing, was the whole Nazi connection, whereas Margot's thing was eventually her consideration and participation in the Soviet Union plans to, handle the whole kind of like Challenger-esque thing that didn't ultimately happen, but she was still kind of in connection with the Russians throughout the remainder of that period and right before the bombing of JSC.
Well, she went from doing that thing, which was a good thing in terms of keeping them from experiencing a tragedy, all the way to just giving away engine plans, Aleda's engine plans. And so Aleda was mad at Margot for a little while, but obviously she forgave her.
So that's why I'm kind of thinking that Aleda's whole controversy for her arc is going to be something in relation to Martian Independence, and I think we just saw it. So,
well, she's been written into. She said, she told Miles, "I'm not your friend, but I'm not your enemy." But now she's being written into friend. She's not a willing friend, but now she is going to be seen that way, whether she likes it or not.
Yeah, I mean, even Margot was unwilling to participate in anything the Russians wanted her to do. So there's that's still that element to this plot. So yeah, no, I think that we're now seeing the shape of whatever that's going to take. So I'm fascinated by that.
And like I said earlier with Lance, I really like the look of the explosion. It looked like a space explosion should look, and I thought that was good. There wasn't too much. It didn't look like there was oxygen, so and also the way the blood went around.
I think even yeah, the blood kind of pools into bubbles, or what do they call them? Orbeals. But yeah, I think with that explosion, I think you can see that it's kind of like a bluish thing when it first explodes, and that I think is pretty much what you would get with the kind of mixture they were talking about. But once, obviously once it explodes, there's no air, so it'll just kind of like dissipate into the vacuum.
Yep.
So yeah, my only issue with that scene was I would assume that Ruiz would have been more Swiss cheesed by that situation, but for purposes of the narrative, I'm going to let that go.
Yeah, that might have been a artistic, dramatic choice to keep him somewhat intact, to give Stevens something to grieve over in a more
Yeah, I
dramatic
mean,
way, rather than him just being in pieces, or just
it's
not make it as gruesome
yeah,
as
I
it should.
mean, it's better to do it the way they did, because ultimately it's still horrific, but it's horrific just enough to where it's not overdone.
Well, the biggest thing is when we get Marcus on Happy Valley, because if they can't just retake the asteroid like they wanted, they're going to end up on Happy Valley. They're going to end up on Phoenix. So another confrontation besides Dev and Alex is going to be Marcus and Alex. We'll see what
Mhm.
happens there too.
Yeah,
Marcus and Alex and Lily.
I've seen a lot of conversation online where the people are kind of saying, what if there's like a moment where everything comes to a head in Happy Valley, and it's Marcus, Lily, and Alex and Avery pretty much converging at the same place. Maybe it's at the damn tree. And, something happens. Maybe Marcus shoots Lily, and then, you have to end up with something where Alex has to shoot Marcus. Because now the craziest thing about what we're heading into is that you have a Stevens who was historically, a family friend of the Baldwins, but now they're on an opposite side of this, interplanetary conflict. And that to me is interesting. So I wonder how they're going to draw that out and make it, draw as much as they can from that. But then you also have two friends on opposite sides of this thing with Marcus and Alex. So yeah, no, I think these are a bunch of like rich threads that I really, really want to see concluded in satisfying ways. So
Me too.
I think we're heading
Yep.
there.
Mhm.
And Robert Meyer Burnett, I guess, was able to see the last two. Lucky man.
That's not fair. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's what I
thought,
said.
okay, at least, yeah, I knew he saw the first 8 ahead of us, but he could
Yeah,
see the last 2 ahead of us too.
yeah, that's what I said. I guess he went
Rude.
to I guess they
Absolutely
had it.
rude.
They had like a premiere at a theater for it over in Irvine. It's a place
Okay.
close by, in between LA and San Diego. But yeah, he went to go see the last two, and I'm like, well, must be nice. And he was talking it up, and I don't think he's been wrong so far. So I'm really curious to see how this
Yeah.
shakes out.
Yeah. And I'm a difficult one to please, obviously, as you know, and I have enjoyed these last few episodes very, very much. DJ Ronnie G, Space War, he says, yeah, right on. Oh, and Jamie loves nutty bars. Okay. I don't know. Very good. And catch DJ Ronnie G over on his YouTube channel. He does a lot of cool stuff. He's got a AI sidekick over there, robot. And let's see. And yeah, there was a lot of different character moments that were very interesting here.
Yeah. Pretty much we're going into the penultimate episode before the finale, and
Mhm.
so the next episode has a lot of things to do, because it can't wrap up anything. It's pretty much a transitionary point between what we just seen and how all these things are going to wrap up and then set up the next season. So yeah, we're about to see a lot of shit pop off, and I can't wait.
DJ Ronnie G says on his channel he does turtles, tech, and space. Yeah.
All the important things.
Yeah, all the very important things. Yeah. Yeah. Penultimate episode next week. That's going to be
Mhm.
great.
Yep. And then one more week after that, and then we get the finale. and then we don't talk about it for a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2. Hopefully not.
Hopefully not two. Hopefully not two.
I mean,
hopefully just another year.
I was told that they went into production on season 6 basically once this little bit before this season started. So that would tell me we're about a year to 18 months away from season 7 coming out.
Mhm.
But supposedly what Robert Meyer Burnett was saying, he was saying something about it. The final shot is going to be something we have to pay attention to because it's going to set up where we go in the finale. So
Well, I'll see. I'll see if I can get him to come on the week after we talk about the finale, because that's what we did last time when we had a show about what predictions we have for season 6, and see if he wants to come do some predictions with us or not.
yeah, no, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. I haven't made it happen or not. If it doesn't happen, we'll still talk predictions, but it'll just be us and maybe Lance. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Regardless.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's going to be mostly me speculating, but it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, it was fun last time. Whether we are right or not, it's always a good time.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the one we did with Robert Meyer Burnett back in 24 and like see how wrong I was. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
Or me. Or him.
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost we're at 4/5 of the way through, so it's been I think it's been a pretty quick season for me, but
yeah, it blew by. I thought, oh man, we're going to be talking about For All Mankind forever. I'll never get back to Twilight Zone, but it's it'll be just another month of this, and we'll be done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just
that day,
3 more weeks, less than a month,
something like that.
Because we're going to have 2 more episodes, and then I'm going to have the prediction episode, so that'll be 3 weeks.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll definitely do my best to make myself available for all of those. And moving forward, I guess we're about to wrap up, so I think I should probably just hawk my wares.
Please. If you've got any links you want to share, put it in the private chat, and I'll share it out.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I got to find the thing.
Yeah, please find the thing.
Ultimately, I'm still trying to rebuild my channel. Still want to do all the things I plan to do, but I think one of the biggest troubles I've had has been based around the idea of video essays. I really want to do like in-depth analyses and criticism and commentary about different science fiction, fantasy, or horror properties that are out there. But the problem is I'm a slow editor. Everything else I want to do takes up a lot more of my time. So I need to find an editor that is semi-affordable, if not speedy. But whatever the case is for that, I definitely think I'm going to take a page out of your book and mostly do like live streams based around the same kind of things. Maybe with some different flourishes. Like I know I can do the whole share screen thing, and maybe that might be another way to kind of augment some of those functions. But ultimately, I just want to talk about science fiction, fantasy, and horror, or as some people call it, speculative fiction. I pretty much write the same things, promote the same ideas from my work. I'm in the process of, I just finished a novel for the Master of Fine Arts program here at San Diego State. So that book is done. I'm going into my 3rd year with the possibility that I might try to write 2 more books. We'll see if I can actually achieve that goal. If I could finish this program with 3 books, that would be amazing. Normally, you only finish with 1. But whatever the case is, I'll keep you guys updated. But please follow along in the journey. Who knows where it'll go. If you do enjoy For All Mankind, I hope you enjoy my series Explorer. I'll be posting some lore things and such from it over the next few months over the summer. So the difference is that Explorer, unlike For All Mankind, For All Mankind's point of divergence is the Soviet Union landing on the moon first, beating us to the moon. In Explorer, our point of divergence is like way before that. It's like World War I. So instead, the Germans are treated a little bit less harshly by the Treaty of Versailles. So that leads to the United States and Germany having a space race instead. So they have about 80 years on us in terms of space development and technological advancement. So that leads to some very interesting things. And I hope you all come to join me.
That's all good stuff. Thank you, Phil.
You got
And here's his YouTube channel here, youtube.com/FALHQ47.
Mhm.
Is there a way you want that pronounced? Fall HQ47? Is that it?
Yeah, that's the one.
There we are. Keith also says, thank you. You provided a great background this afternoon. I was on the phone with Omaha, and they thought I have upgraded my office to have other people around. Well, take care and be well. I'm glad we could be supportive background noise for your discussions. Thank you, Keith, for tuning in. And thank you, Gavin. Gavin also has a link here for DJ Ronnie G and his videos about turtles, tech, and science.
Yeah, I got to come up with something that memorable for my stuff.
Great. Jamie says that was very informative. Thank you. And thank you, Matt G, for being here on YouTube and also for being on Rumble. I was feeling really, really lonely over there on Rumble. And so you made that feel a little less lonely over there. It is so difficult to find an audience over there. I just don't know who's there. Like, is there anybody out there for the Pink Floyd song? But anyway, it does seem like it was a good thing for people to listen to lurk to, and if that's what I provided, I am happy to have done so. And Jill, do you like card games? Asks Pure Solace. Sometimes I suppose, but it's not my forte or anything. But if there's a hurricane or something, then I gotta do a card game.
Got any recommendations?
Yeah, Pure Solace, what are you thinking about? But anyway, that's pretty much all we got for today. We've
before we continue, or before we end this, literally the next review is going to be number 200.
Yeah, the penultimate episode is going to be Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations, episode 200, because apparently I don't like the idea of doing seasons. So I just keep going and going. So we're going to see how high this number can get.
Well,
and we're at 200.
Well, once we hit 200, which, it's going to be the next episode, there should be something special. So I think we should all kind of work on developing what that special thing could be.
Okay. Well, if you come up with any ideas, my inbox is open. Pure Solace says, sometimes, cool, one day, maybe this summer, I want to teach you a new one I'm working on. All right. I look forward to what you have to share. And yeah, especially everybody in the chat, I want to hear what you have to say. If you couldn't drop in on the chat because you're busy, leave me a comment and let me know what you thought of the review or anything else you want to say. And we'll see you next time. I'm gonna head off now, and we're gonna reconvene back on the asteroid next week and see what the damages really were. Damage report next Wednesday. Yeah, because we're going to do Wednesday until the end, and we'll see if that brings our a few more visits from Lance, because I really enjoyed having him on today. That was a fun 25 minutes. Thanks for the review in the chat, says Pure Solace. You're welcome. My pleasure.
All right, folks. See you guys next week.
Yeah, see you next time. I gotta find some videos. Oh yeah, right. Closing videos here. See you later.
Learn all that is learnable.
So I hope you learned something today.
And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
I enjoy hearing what you have to say. So leave me a comment.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
So let's continue creating conversations and ideas.
May we together become greater than the sum of both of us.
Share out the stream to bring more here. Bye for now. See you next time.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.
Change is the essential process of all existence.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.